Hi, and welcome to Deep Leadership. I'm your host, John Rennie. Now, what if you could surround yourself with a room full of experienced CEOs, leaders who have faced the same challenges you have, and get their honest, unfiltered advice? Well, that's what Bob Carruthers has been making happen for the past 30 years as a master chair at Vistage Worldwide. In this episode, he shares why peer advisory groups and executive coaching are game changers and how they save leaders from making costly mistakes and why even the best leaders need someone in their corner. If you ever felt the weight of leadership, this conversation will help you carry it more effectively and thrive. So, are you ready to dive in? Let's get started. Today, I'm joined by Bob Carruthers. Bob is a master chair at Vistage Worldwide and brings over 29 years of experience in leadership development and executive coaching. Bob facilitates peer to peer boards of CEOs and executives, creating environments conducive to skill enhancement, informed decision making, and superior results. He offers individual coaching, arranges expert speakers, and provides access to a global network of over 45,000 board members spanning 35 countries. I'm excited to have him on the show to learn from his deep experience in business leadership development. So, Bob, welcome to the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm glad you invited me.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you on the show, and I'm excited to talk about Vistage Worldwide, and because I think it's such an interesting organization of which I'm only a little bit familiar with because a number of entrepreneurs in where I'm at in Raleigh, North Carolina, are involved. But first of all, tell us a little bit about what is Vistage Worldwide and how did you get involved with it?
Well, Vistage is an international organization that's in 35 countries. And our whole purpose is to increase the effectiveness and enhance the lives of CEOs and top executives. And over the years, I've seen it happen over and over again. So the way we do it is we put business leaders into peer groups of up to, I'd say, the average is probably around 15 to 16. And we get together once a month for a full one. Well, anyway, I get ahead of myself. These groups are made so members can come in and get others members input. In addition to that, I do coaching with my CEO members, which is up to a 2 hour session once a month.
Hmm.
Um, and so that intense kind of building helps them be more successful, grow their businesses faster, be better bosses, um, just make and just make it work better. They're
Yeah, yeah.
and it's not just business. A lot of it is life. I've had wives say, "Thank God he joined Vistage because you saved our marriage."
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what it is. I've been involved with it, like I said, from 1996. I got into it because I was a member first, and I had three companies in the frozen meat trading business, which means we bought and sold animal byproducts, lungs, livers, kidneys, all the stuff that comes out of an animal that's not just steaks and, you know, good beef or whatever. Um, we would buy them and then we'd resell them primarily to pet food.
Hmm.
So we could amass large quantities of items like lungs. We'd buy them from one packing house and we'd buy another packing house and we'd put them all together. And then we could go to Pedigree and say, we can sell you 100 tons, or 500 tons of lungs, and they could just have one seller and, or fewer sellers. And they knew us and they knew how we operated, and it just worked for them.
Hmm.
And then we sold edible, edible stuff too that went into hot dogs and chorizo and sausage and all kinds of stuff. Plus, we exported a lot of meat. So it was a fun business. It was, I liked it a lot. And I got, over time, I kind of got bored with it because
Mm.
I didn't feel I was really doing anything for humanity. I was just moving a lot of meat around and making a profit in between the purchase and the sale. And we just did it over and over again. And I kind of got bored and I didn't feel I was really making a difference. So I decided I wanted to go a different way and sold out to my management team. And then I started a business which was still around exporting, but I wanted to export manufactured products into third world countries. And my ego told me that I had an idea that couldn't fail, and so I just went full ahead, full ahead on it and didn't listen to anybody. And actually, the business did fail, and I had to close it down. And so I've been through that too. And I just was frankly, looking for a job when I got done there. And I had been in Vistage. I loved it. I reached out to my past chair, and asked him if Vistage was looking for anybody. Um, and he said, I don't know. I wanted to be in the international business because um, that's what I'd known, but Vistage didn't need anybody in the international side. That was all done by the president, so I didn't think I was going to ace him out.
Mm.
But they said, we need a chair. We need a chair in Denver. So if you're interested in that, you know, let's talk. And we talked and they hired me. And so I've been doing this ever since.
It's really interesting that you said something that's kind of interesting. And I think entrepreneurs that are listening in probably kind of feel what you feel. There's an excitement level in starting a business, and building something from nothing. And then
Mhm.
when you get to a certain level and you're just sort of doing the same thing over and over again, we
Right.
lose a little bit of that I don't know, that spark, that energy, that momentum that you have in those early days. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs who kind of say the same thing you said, which was, I feel like I'm not making a difference. I'm just sort of making money. And so I think that's a familiar theme to a lot of entrepreneurs. And so it's interesting that you said, I want to make a difference. I don't want to just kind of move meat and make money, right? And
Right.
so in Vistage, you're having a chance to make a difference in the lives of all these CEOs. And so having your deep experience with running businesses and having your experience, and I love that you said, I had a business that failed. And you know what? That's good that you had that, because then you're a more effective, I think, coach when you can talk about the failures too, because I think a lot of times coaches sort of play the greatest hits, like, so this is what all the things I did right, and the truth of the matter is, as an entrepreneur, I can tell you I've done probably more wrong than I've done right.
Mhm.
And I've just maybe done just enough right to keep alive, and so I think we forget that we've made so many mistakes throughout our time as leaders. So I think that makes you more valuable, I think, as a coach. Wouldn't you say so?
Oh, absolutely. Several times over the years, I've said to a member that was in our coaching session, and I'd say to him, you're going down a dangerous path here.
Mm,
This is the one I went down and it killed the company.
yeah, yeah,
Might want to rethink what you're doing here and let's talk about it.
yeah, yeah,
And and that has a real effect.
yeah. It really does. Having that experience, you can really talk honestly and authentically about that. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
so tell us a little bit about peer advisory. I really like this concept. So you're around your peers. These are other CEOs. They're in the same in the same boat, essentially. They might be in different industries, but they might be at different maturity levels. What's the advantage of these peer advisory groups?
It's a huge advantage, especially now with things changing so fast and what's coming to these companies, the challenges they face, and a peer advisory group is a group made up of your peers, and in our case, it's CEOs or it's people that report to CEOs, or we've even gone into middle managers now. Um, and it's a place to go and take the challenges you have and put it in front of those 15 other CEOs and um, get their thoughts. Say, here's what I'm facing. This is what I'm thinking about doing. And the 14 other people in the room, we will ask a lot of questions so we understand what's going on. And then um, we'll go around the table and offer our suggestions or help, or we'd ask the question, if you were in his shoes, what would you do? And then we get a lot of great feedback. And so it's a place for those members to get their answers questioned, frankly, and also helps them make better decisions, which makes better results.
Yeah, I love this idea because here you are, basically around your peers, other CEOs, people who experience the same sort of stressors that you have, and you get to bounce ideas off these other CEOs, and they can say, well, oh shoot, I faced that I same situation, or oh this is or here's what I've done, or wow, I'm that's a problem for me. I'm going to listen in because that could help my business as well. So that same problem that one CEO has experienced, two more in the room might be having the same problem, and so they're going to all gain some value by hearing solutions, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Even, the people that it's not their challenge or their issue or whatever, by processing that issue, they're learning.
Hmm.
They're taking away something. And I've had many times a member will say to me, that issue that he processed way back when, well, that's kind of happening to me now, and that
Oh
what
yeah.
I learned from that was really helping me. So you find that if you didn't have the issue, you probably will have. So it gives you a library of knowledge to draw on uh, to help your business succeed.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Now, when you're in a peer group, do you stay with that same group for a length of time so that you build familiarity and you build relationships?
Exactly. These
Yeah,
groups get very close. They're made up of CEOs, but they're not the same industries. We don't allow competitors. We encourage as much diversity as possible. And these groups stay together for quite a while. I
yeah.
think my average tenure now is about 7.5 years.
Wow, wow, that's fantastic. That's great. Yeah,
I
I mean, I can see a real value in it because I think, we do talk to a lot of entrepreneurs in the show, and I do feel like being a CEO of a smaller company, a growing company, you do feel like you're on an island and you're alone, right? And it's very, you can feel like you're all alone, in the midst of all the challenges you have, and I can see the power in being around a few other people that also are going through, that are also in the same exact kind of experience. And I would imagine, like during COVID, everybody, so it was like something that happened to, it was affecting all the CEOs in the room, and so getting a chance to have that conversation, like, what are you doing, or how are you handling this particular issue,
Mhm.
how are you handling masks or vaccination or social distancing, and the kind of things that we were all trying to figure out. But having a group of peers would be fantastic to be able to say, what are you doing in this particular crisis? Tariffs, are a big issue right now. I would imagine it'd be a great thing to have a peer group say, how are you handling tariffs? What are you doing to protect, or to keep yourself competitive, right?
Yeah, yeah, we definitely are doing that right now.
Yeah, yeah.
But everybody's, since we really don't know what's going on, it's let's wait and see what happens before we start worrying about it.
Yeah. I always tell my employees, I said it's not a problem until it's a problem. And right now it's not a problem. So it's it's a way because I we got plenty enough problems to deal with. The ones we don't know about just yet. Let's worry about those later. Right. So I love that.
There's a phrase that it's lonely at the top, and
Yeah,
believe me, it's
yeah,
right. It's definitely true. A
yeah, yeah,
CEO has nobody to talk to.
yeah.
His wife is tired of hearing about it. His neighbors don't have a clue what he's talking about because they're not in the same shoes he's in, and um, there's no place else to go. And
Yeah.
it is to be, only place is to be with other CEOs because
I really do believe that. That is a really important statement you said because I think sometimes we have startup CEOs, small company CEOs. There's a lot of burnout. There's a lot of divorce. There's a lot of substance abuse because you're dealing with these problems alone, right? You feel like you're alone, but you're actually not alone because there's other people that are going through the exact same thing that you're going through. And so, what I love about Vistage is you're connecting to the people who are in the same same part of their lives and helping each other walk through issues together, almost live kind of do business together, help each other be successful.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's true. That's what they do. And every meeting, I'm blessed to be in the meetings and be led into the level of their lives that I am. And especially in my coaching sessions.
Yeah.
I've had members say, now I'm telling you this, I haven't told my wife yet.
Yes, yes.
Diagnosed with liver cancer. And
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
yeah.
But
Well, let's talk a little bit about coaching because I think this is a really important subject as well. Now, my listeners know I coach leaders. I have a number of different people I work with, but I also have my own executive coach. Like I have a coach that I go to for the very reason you just mentioned is like sometimes we need to talk about things that um, I had a meeting with my coach yesterday, and I literally said I'm telling you this, and you and my wife are the only two people on earth that know this. And I was reviewing an issue that I was having. And I need him in my life because I need somebody who's not in my chain of command, that is outside. It's a third party, someone that has been in my shoes before, who's run companies. And I need a third party to help me. So why should every leader invest in a coach?
because um, in these times, there's so many things to navigate
Mm,
and things we're hit with that we've never seen before. And you can get a lot out of a group, but there's also personal things, or
yeah.
there are deeper elements going on with you personally that it may not be right for the group yet,
Mm,
and you want to talk about it. Some of my members just, it's like we get together in the coaching session is they talk the whole time because they think out loud, and it's their way of hearing what they're saying and crystallizing their thoughts. And all I say is, tell me more. What and, and at the end they say, that was the greatest session we've had. I never can figure it out.
it's
But it's
very interesting you say that because I know my coach does the same thing to me. He said when you talk about this, you're cheerful. When you talk about this other subject, you seem frustrated. Explain. And it's like, oh, I didn't notice. I didn't know that at all. So he's like observing me and he's like, why are you having this sort of reaction to this issue and you have another reaction to this other issue? Tell me about that. And you're like, he's basically noticing things about me that I don't notice in my own self.
sure.
And I think it's really cool because I'm also coaching people, so I'm actually seeing this in the people I mentor,
Hmm.
and he's seeing it in me, and it just shows that even if you're a great leader and you're a great and you're great even at coaching other leaders. You still can learn by having a coach. You can still
Right.
get better by having someone help you through some of the challenges that maybe you don't even know you're facing, you know? Yeah.
I think a good coach is like a mirror. They just reflect back what they see and they're
Yeah.
honest about talking
Yeah.
about it. And a good coach looks at body language and all kinds of stuff that gives them an inkling into what you're feeling and what you're really going through.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, body language is more important than the words.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree with that. Yeah, I can definitely see that. And it's funny, I had a session with one of my clients this morning, and she was all energy, was all smiles, happy, the business is doing well, and it was like a great session. And but I've had sessions with her where the shoulders are slumped, and she's struggling with relationships and struggling with employees, and
Right.
but today was different. She was shoulders back, smiles. She was could see she had worked through some of her issues. So the body language is really remarkable, I think, and a good coach can sort of sense that. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. What are some of the challenges that you help leaders walk through with your coaching?
Oh man, it's like the one where the guy tells me he's got liver cancer and he
Mm.
wants to know how I can help him break it to his wife.
Oh, yeah.
We just talked about it and he talked about his fears and all that.
Mm.
Another one is, oddly enough, I've had sessions where people are just about to sell their companies
Yeah.
for mega bucks and it's, what do I do now?
Yeah.
You know, what course can I take? I got more money than God. I can
Yeah.
anything I want to, and what do I do? And we had that discussion in the group. I had two guys like that
Yeah.
through it at the same time. They both were becoming multimillionaires. And we just let them talk in the group
Yeah.
morning about what they were feeling, what they were facing, because the other members, are going to face it someday if we're successful. And it was just an amazing discussion, either in my coaching session or in the group.
Well, I love that you bring that up because I think sometimes entrepreneurs, because some people get into starting businesses because they want to make money.
Hmm.
They want to get rich. They want to, live that lavish lifestyle. And then I think what you point out is that when you've achieved it, when you've arrived,
Right.
um, it's the question of what's next. Like you've put yourself, you've challenged yourself to do something very difficult. Starting a business and running a business is very difficult to do. And then you've arrived. You actually have made it. Like you've survived, and not only survived, but you thrive. You found a model that actually works, and you win. And then what do you do when you win? And I think that's we need. I think we as leaders, we as people need a purpose in our lives. And so I think when you get to the point where you've achieved it all that you set out to do, what's next? And I think
Uh,
we all ask that question. Yeah.
sure. Yeah, one of the members put it this way. He said, I've climbed the mountain, I've got to the top. What am I going to do? Go climb another mountain?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? And
Well,
it is an interesting conversation.
yeah. Well, I'm 58 years old. I can tell you this: I'm not climbing another mountain. This is the last mountain I'm climbing.
That's right. This is
So
it,
I'm
babe.
I'm done. So when I hear the term serial entrepreneur, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm like, I am not a serial entrepreneur. I'm a one and done kind of guy. So no,
It's a bigger phrase with the younger
yeah,
entrepreneurs now.
yeah,
For some reason, it seems like the ones I talk to have a thrill in owning four companies. I'll say,
yeah,
I'm an
yeah,
entrepreneur. I own four companies. Tell me about those companies.
yeah.
What do they look like? And they can't answer the questions. And it's just weird.
Yeah, it's like having more than one wife. I don't think it's possible. Why would you?
Oh,
I have a hard
no
enough time
way.
with one. Let alone I have a hard enough
Not
time
if,
with one company, let alone
yeah,
multiple companies.
not if you're serious, boy. This
Yeah,
entrepreneurship it's a wonderful thing, but it's also a difficult thing, and there's great learnings from it for sure. There's
yeah.
potholes along the way that you got to watch out for.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know I teach entrepreneurship at a local college here, and I tell
Uh-huh.
my young people like say, you know, I always say to them, don't start a company. Like, what do you mean don't start a company? I'm here to become an entrepreneur. I'm like, no. I said, go work for somebody else first. Learn how to learn the business, learn what's important. Let somebody else pay for that education. And then when you feel like you're skilled in this industry, then go start a business. But don't just go from like, school to start a business. I mean, I know some people do it, but it's that those are the unicorns. I think you have to have some skills before you jump into a business.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm one of those like late 40s started my business, and I was so the business was easy. Like I knew business, so that was easy. I knew the industry, that was easy. The challenges I had, and I'm sure other people who are listening in know it as well, is that when you're a brand new business, especially in a conservative industry like electric utilities, nobody wants to talk to you.
Yeah,
So you're not the big brand. I buy only from the big brand. So who are
right.
you guys? And so that was a hard thing, was to get the brand recognized,
Oh,
and so
absolutely. It's probably the hardest thing.
yeah, yeah. So just like, who are you guys again? And like even customers that I used to deal with when I was in corporate, I'm like, it's me. Like I called on this account for years. It's like, yeah, but I'd never heard of your company, your new company. So getting the word out on a brand and building that from nothing is it's difficult, very difficult. There
Yeah.
are very lean months and quarters when you're getting started. So,
Sometimes it's scary on how you're going to make payroll.
oh yeah, no, believe me, I know it's. I just sent my payroll in just today, so I know exactly. I live by my two payrolls a month. So,
And
um,
you use a lot of credit cards when you're starting out too.
oh yeah, believe me, I know. Yeah. So tell us what type of what type of business leader benefits from Vistage Worldwide? Do you have to be a certain size business to get in? How does that work?
We have one area for small businesses. We
Okay.
call it, small businesses Vistage for small businesses. And that would be, I'd say, in the 1 to 3 million, maybe $5 million range.
Okay.
We don't do startups. Frankly, I don't think they can afford us,
Yeah.
and they would suck the time out of a group and things that the group had already learned and moved on from.
Yeah.
And that's the reason there. Um, the this any you asked me what type of businesses would benefit from Vistage. Any type of business. Somebody said to me, and I hear this a lot too, is no, I don't think they'd understand my business.
Mm,
And I heard that from a doctor. My first person I ever got to join Vistage and be in my group. And he was a doctor here, an eye doctor. And he took a flyer. I said, Larry, you're right. They don't understand being a doctor or doing surgery, but what they do understand is making payroll,
yeah.
building a company, helping you market yourself, helping you grow your company if you've got aspirations to do that. And so he joined, and he was in for a while, and then when he kind of backed off and hired a president, then that guy was in, and that company ended up, God, it was got to be, they had vision centers all over Denver, and they were,
Mm.
you know, doing great. And he finally sold it for a lot of money.
That's fantastic.
That's how you can help somebody that doesn't think anybody would understand their business.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think you're right. I think businesses may be different, right? Each business might be unique in its way. Like I'm in manufacturing,
Right.
um, but at the end of the day, it's leadership, it's people, it's hiring, it's firing, it's payroll, it's cash flow. It's like you said, marketing and sales and how do you build a brand, and these are common threads. And I don't care if you're doing service work, or you're cleaning pools, cutting lawns, or like you said, doing eye care. These are all common to business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
90%, I think 90% of all businesses are exactly alike.
Hmm.
That's the part where Vistage is successful. That's where we work. We can't help you with how you deliver your product or technical, exactly what's the technical side of your product.
Yeah.
Anything else is fair game. And
Uh,
it's funny when you got a guy in construction sitting at the table and he's one of these rough guys and he's grown up in his dad's company and now he's the president and he's got 50 employees and kind of a rough guy. And then there's another guy sitting there that's like an attorney that's talking about, well, we're having this problem. And the construction guy says something like, yeah, yeah, in our industry, this is how we handle that. And the attorney guy goes, oh man, I never thought of that. That would work great. So it's interesting how they cross pollinate each other.
that is powerful. I think that issue, just like you mentioned, that idea of cross pollinating amongst getting ideas from different industries. Sometimes we have to step outside of our industry to
Yeah.
learn something, and to
Outside.
bring it back to our industry. And I
Hmm.
think I see a big advantage to having a peer group like that, where they're from different kinds of businesses. And so you might apply something you learned, like you said, from construction, put it into your law firm, and
Right.
suddenly now you've solved a problem that other law firms are still struggling with, but you had that insight because you happen to know somebody in a different industry. So
Right.
yeah,
They
yeah,
cared enough about you to give you the advice.
yeah.
It's these groups are incredible. The way they work is absolutely incredible.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, Bob, what final message would you like to leave with our listeners?
If you're not in a peer group, you're running any executive should be in a peer group. CFOs, COOs, because they've got their own problems too. And it's nice to get in a group of C-level executives that can meet and talk about, how do I handle the boss? They've got that issue of managing up and managing down, and where CEOs are just down. So that group needs advice too from peers that are doing it all the time. So if you're in business and you want to grow and be successful, you need to be in a peer group. I don't care if it's Vistage or YPO or whatever. You need advice from other people. It's just the stakes are too high now. They're just too high, and there's too many things going on that could sink your boat pretty fast, like the
Mm.
tariffs.
That is so true. So true.
That
Uh,
that's
yeah,
one thing. And coaching,
yeah,
I believe you got to have a coach. I have a coach. You have a coach,
yes,
and it makes us be better
yeah, yeah,
because they see things we don't see.
yeah. Yeah, I always tell the story of one of the greatest drummers was in rock drummers was Neil Peart of Rush, and he passed away recently. But even up until the day he died, he was taking drum lessons. He was
Hmm.
learning how to be a better drummer. And I
Hmm.
think that as leaders, we need to be developing our skills as leaders, and one of the ways we can develop it and learn and grow is with a coach. And so I think that it's essential. I don't think we as leaders have arrived. We need to keep working on ourselves. I think a coach can really help you develop your skills and help you see things that you're a little bit blind to. I think it's
Right.
really important. I agree with you. I second that comment. It's very important. Yeah.
That's those are the two things I think are the most important.
Yeah.
Um, if Vistage is, in my opinion, by far the best because we bring in outside speakers to each of these meetings. We'll fly them in from around the country, and they could be the person that was doing the keynote in front of 10,000 people on Tuesday, and he's speaking to my group on Wednesday
Love it.
for 3 hours, and it's interactive, and they keep us sharp. They keep us ahead of what's going on. Things like AI now is huge.
Mm,
Nobody really understands it or where it's going. So, we need to keep abreast of that stuff. So we bring in experts to help us.
that's fantastic. Well, Bob, this has been a really great conversation. How can our listeners find out more about you and Vistage Worldwide?
Well, you can find me in LinkedIn. Um, I, I think you'll put in the LinkedIn thing in the notes below.
I will. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then you can email me also, which will be in the notes below.
Yeah.
And I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to have a conversation. We can talk about Vistage and, you know, call me from anywhere in the world. We're everywhere. Uh, and if you think this is something that might help you, I'll put you in touch with somebody in your area that can help you get into a group like this.
That's fantastic. And there's groups all over the country.
Oh yeah, there's groups in every major and next, level below that. I don't know what you call them, but every major city. You're in Raleigh. We have many groups in Raleigh in that area. Um, I guess we probably have, I won't even guess. I don't know. We have close to 1,000 chairs
Wow. Wow.
in this country and worldwide. I don't know. Our fastest growing countries would be ones that surprise you. Argentina is our fastest growing country, and oddly enough, it's all in one city, Buenos Aires.
Mm,
I thought that was fascinating.
that's wild. Yeah.
Australia is big for us. England is big for us. We're all through Europe now. We bought a company in Scandinavia that added 15,000 more members to our fold.
Wow. Wow. Well,
So
this is great. This is the group, guys. I mean, if you've been thinking about getting together with a peer network, if you're looking at it, coaching, Vistage Worldwide is a great solution. It's a great company or great organization. I know a number of people in Raleigh that are involved, and they only speak highly of what they learn and gain from working with Vistage. So Bob, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I've got links in the show notes for all of Bob's resources. If you got a question for Bob, please reach out to him. If you're saying, hey, Vistage might be for me, I'm not sure, reach out to him. He can answer your questions. He can direct you to a local Vistage chapter near you. But please reach out to him. He's the expert. I'm just here connecting you to the expert. So reach out to Bob and he'll tell you more. Bob, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for sharing your experience and your expertise and telling us a lot about what Vistage can do to help our businesses.
it's been my pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for
I
the, thanks for the great questions.
Oh, I enjoyed it as well. And thanks for coming on the show. And I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Well, that's it for today. Thank you for listening to Deep Leadership. If you like this podcast, please subscribe and share so we can continue to build a world with better bosses. Until next time, this is John Rennie saying take care and lead well.